Hi everyone, welcome back to DeFi Daily. In this video, we will talk about one of the most promising and ambitious projects into the whole DeFi ecosystem. And this is not an exaggeration because I will explain to you in this video why this protocol can really be a breakthrough. I will explain also to you how does it work and also if it could be a good buying opportunity or not. You can consider this video as a continuation of the playlist that is about the liquidity war and the cure wars, because the topic is exactly the same. If you missed that playlist and all the videos, I highly encourage you to watch them because they are literally the fundamentals of DeFi. And if you wanna watch them, I will leave also the link in the right corner here. So just before to start, remember that all the contents in this channel are for educational purpose. My goal is to really literally give you the tools to better understand DeFi, not financial advice. And remember, if you're new to the channel, a good idea if you want to be always updated about DeFi is to subscribe. And if you like my job, please leave me a big thumbs up and drop a comment. So let's start immediately. This is Tokemak. Tokemak is about managing liquidity. What is the main problem about DeFi? As we were talking into the previous videos about cure wars, is that people are just moving their liquidity inside the protocol according to the APY. So the problem for a protocol is that in order to attract more liquidity, they have to offer a higher APY. The problem is that in the moment when the APY is going down, for the simple reason that that APY is paid into the token of the platform and it is just inflation. And in this way, sooner or later, the price of that token will dump. And if the price of the token is dumping, also the APY is decreasing. And in that moment, people will move to looking for other kind of protocols that are offering a higher APY. And this is a big problem because in this way, the different protocols are not able to attract and to keep the liquidity. So it's much more difficult to survive into this industry. For this reason, the whole cure wars has happened, and we talked in the previous videos about this topic. Tokemak is trying to do another step. The goal is to go even beyond the simple cure wars, because they are saying, okay guys, we know that there is this problem. We have the solution. Instead of just trying to attract liquidity, come to my platform, deposit your liquidity, and I will manage to distribute this liquidity all along the whole DeFi ecosystem. And if you are a holder of our token, you can even vote where the liquidity should be deployed. Let's say that you want that your liquidity should go to a sushi swap, you can vote for it. Do you want your liquidity on Balancer? You can vote for it, and so on. So the whole idea is that instead of having each protocol that is looking for liquidity, we can have a protocol that is built for other protocols in order to manage how to distribute the whole liquidity. But let's have a look on how does it work. So first of all, going down, we have two main areas. The first one is called pair reactors. And the second one that is just down here is called token reactors. What is the main difference between these two categories? The first one is about like stable coins. So you can see meme, you can see Frax, DAI, and so on. And as you can see, there is also the token of Olympus DAO. And this is something that you have to keep in mind because most of the people are just thinking that DAOs are something for speculation. That's not the reality. The reality is that if people are able to build something real, something powerful on top of that DAO, the kind of use cases are literally infinite. And this is one of them. UST, Frax, and so on, and also ETH. So the idea is that in the pair reactors, we have all the different kind of tokens that people are considering safe and that they are using in order to exit from their previous positions. So let's say that you have a token from a protocol or a small crypto or whatever, and you want to sell it. Most of the time, what you will do, you will sell your token in order to receive some kind of stablecoin or some kind of asset, like it could be Ethereum or something else that you consider a safe exit. So into the pair reactors, we have all of this kind of safe exit. On the other side, down here, we have all the different kind of tokens that could be tokens from a single protocols or any kind of token that has been added to this protocol, so to Tokemak. Okay, this is the first thing that we should keep in mind. This is really important because, as you can imagine, in this way, you don't have anymore to provide liquidity of two assets together. So it's not like adding liquidity to, like, say, PancakeSwap, where you have to add, for example, BUSD with BNB, and you have to add both of them into the same quantity. In this case, you can just provide liquidity for a single asset. This has the great advantage that you are not suffering for impermanent loss, because in this case, Tokemak, even if at the end the liquidity that Tokemak will provide, will deploy to the different DEXs, will be in form of a pair, because, for example, they will provide USDC with, let's say, the token of sushi. So the pair will be sushi with USDC. But even if they are providing the LP in the form of pair, it's not something that will affect you, because the protocol, in this case Tokemak, will cover any kind of impermanent loss. And if you're wondering how Tokemak will be able to cover all the impermanent loss, is due to the fact that they are collecting all the fees that that kind of LP tokens is generating. So from one side, in the moment when you are depositing your liquidity into Tokemak, you are giving away all the different rewards that, for example, Tokemak will receive, reinvesting and using your liquidity into the different DEXs. On the other side, you don't have to worry anymore about impermanent loss. Okay, so now we know that you are a user or you are a protocol and you own some kind of liquidity. You want to invest them without having to worry about impermanent loss. Tokemak is an answer, because you can just come into the protocol and deposit your liquidity. The point is, are you earning something or not? Yes, you are. And the kind of APR that you can find here in this column that is written deposit is the APY, or APR in this case, so not compounded interest, that you will receive if you are depositing liquidity inside the Tokemak protocol. And what is interesting is that this kind of APR is something that is changing according to what is happening on the other side of the screen, because as you can see, this is the reactor. This is the one that you are seeing in blue and green. This is called reactor, and inside of this reactor you can find two tokens. In this case, you can find the token that you can find here, that is the Ethereum in this case. So all the different pair tokens that you can find here that are ETH, USDC, Frax, and so on. So this is the first token that is inside the reactor. On the other side, the other token that is inside the reactor is the token of Tokemak. And this token is coming from the people that are staking the token inside the Tokemak platform. It's like a game of words, but this is how it is. So people that are holding or that they have the token of Tokemak can just stake it into this pool here. Once you have staked your token here, you can go down here and decide on which pool you want to allocate them. Let's say that you are interested into this pool, you can allocate them here. And the APY, or better, the APR, so not compounded, that you will receive is the number that you can find here into the column on the right. You can consider it like a staking APR, because the reality is that instead of receiving your APR directly from this pool here, you will receive your APR in the moment when you will decide in which reactor you want to deposit your tokens. But there is another interesting step, because the APR that you are seeing here, in this case, for example, for Ethereum, we were seeing 5% and 40%. This APR is changing according to the balance. Because, for example, you can see that in this case, into the reactor with Ethereum and a token, that is the token of Tokemak, you can see that the tokens inside are quite lower, at least if they are compared to the level of Ethereum. So for this reason, the APR for Ethereum is lower, because inside this reactor there is already a lot of Ethereum. On the other side, the APR for the token is higher if we compare, for example, to this one down here, that is USDC, that, as you can see, the reactor has much less USDC if we compare them to token. So the system is a dynamic APR that is changing according to the balance. The more token there are inside that reactor, higher will be also the APR for the pair. In this case, we are talking about Ethereum, USDC, and so on. And they are calling it the greediness economy, because if people are just following the highest APR and they are trying to maximize their interest, also the system will work perfectly, because we will have always a perfect balance between the two kinds of assets. So let's try to go back in order to give you a summary on what we have said. So we have two kinds of reactors. The first kind is called a pair reactor, are all the kind of safe exits that you can have. It could be Ethereum, it could be a stable coin, and so on. On the other side, we have token reactors that are the reactors that are containing all the tokens from the different platforms. This is allowing you to deposit a single asset instead of having to deposit two assets, that is usual for any kind of protocol that we have seen, because usually we have to add liquidity in form of two assets, let's say USD with BNB. In this case, you can deposit just one and you are avoiding the impermanent loss. On the other side, the APR that you will receive in the moment when you are depositing is related to the balance that there is inside of the reactor, because each reactor, in this case we have the example of Ethereum, has inside Ethereum plus token, that is the token of Tokemak. Higher is the amount of token that is inside that kind of reactor, also higher will be the APR, in this case for Ethereum. But the same concept applies for a USDC or for any other kind of a reactor that is inside the pair reactors or the token reactors. In this way, people are incentivized to add liquidity where there is the highest APR. And in this way, all the reactors will converge to a balance where there is a proportional amount of token and Ethereum. Once we have understood it, we can go a step beyond. Because the reality, and this is the really powerful idea behind Tokemak, is that you can decide where to allocate your liquidity. And if you activate the Pro mode, that is the label that you can find in the right corner here, you will have the opportunity to choose where your liquidity will go. In this case, we have the case of FXS, that is also the governance token of Frax Finance, and you can decide where you want to locate that kind of liquidity. In this case, we have a Curve, that is the default solution, Uniswap, SushiSwap, Balancer, and other DEXs will come. And people can vote if they have deposited. So if they have deposited inside the reactor some token. And as you can see, one token vote is equivalent to $521 of liquidity. Obviously, this number is changing according to the amount of, in this case, FXS tokens that are inside the reactor. So let's suppose that you are from Frax Finance and you would like to have your tokens that are deployed to Curve Finance, Uniswap, SushiSwap, Balancer in a certain amount. You can do all of it directly from Tokemak. And this is literally a breakthrough, because if you think about right now, each protocol should decide and should deploy the liquidity by itself. The problem is that before being able to deploy the liquidity, they have to attract the liquidity. And attracting the liquidity could be costly because you have to pay a lot of rewards to people. If you're just using Tokemak, Tokemak is doing that kind of job for you. You don't have any more to attract liquidity because Tokemak is already attracting the liquidity for you. All you have to do is owning the token of Tokemak in order to vote where the liquidity should be deployed. And as you can see, this is literally a breakthrough because protocols, they don't have any more to worry to attract the liquidity and to be able after that to decide where to deploy it. All they have to do is just to own the token Toke, that is the token of Tokemak, because if they own it, they can decide where their own liquidity, but not only, they can even decide, they can even vote for other kind of tokens. So they can literally start a war to decide where the different amount of liquidity should go. And this is something that is really, really important. Coming at this point, the question is, will it be able Tokemak to succeed, and what are the risks connected to this kind of protocol? I will say as first that the reality is that right now this protocol is still at an early stage. As you can see up here, we are still into the cycle 0. It is called cycle 0 because all you are seeing right now here is just all liquidity that hasn't been for real deployed. As you can see from this article from Tokemak, they have just deployed the first 1.5 million this week. So this protocol is just beginning to work. And even if it has already inside around 1.5 billion in total value locked inside the protocol. And the reason why it has a so high amount of liquidity inside, even if it hasn't started to work, is because protocols are trying literally to buy the opportunity to work with Tokemak. And the topic is really important because I don't know if you are literally understanding how important it is being able to move the liquidity into the different protocols in the most efficient way. This is a main problem for most of the protocols. So many of them are just trying to work with Tokemak because they are understanding that yes, if we are able to, instead of having to pay incentives to people, just to work with a single access point that could be Tokemak in order to deploy our liquidity and to have a power to decide which protocol, which DEX should have the major liquidity, this is something that could be big. But there is also another step, because probably you're wondering, okay, but how they are deciding which kind of crypto, which kind of token should be added to Tokemak. And this is coming from this other label up here. If you click to core, you will find all the different assets, and you can vote for them because there are different cycles, and in each cycle you can vote for which kind of asset should be added to the Tokemak. And as you can see here on the right, in the moment when a certain kind of token has been voted and has received a certain amount of votes that is needed in order to be in the top 5, because as you can see here, only the top 5 has been added into the last cycle. And in the moment when they are winning the spot, they will start to talk with the DAO. So the two DAO, the DAO for Tokemak and the DAO of the protocol, in this case we are talking about Fox, will start to talk each other in order to exchange important information. After that, they will exchange some kind of liquidity. So Fox will receive some token from Tokemak, and the token that we receive is the token. On the other side, Tokemak will receive some liquidity in terms of a token Fox, in this case, that they will add to the reactor. And after that, the reactor will be active. So as you can see, the token that is the Tokemak token is having another use case, because it's not only useful to vote for which DEX should receive a certain amount of liquidity. So for example, we have seen the example of FXS. So instead of having just the power to decide where the FXS should be deployed between a curve, balancer, and so on, you can also vote for which kind of asset you want to create a reactor. In this case, we have seen the Synthetics, for example, has just one an asset. But if we go down, you can see that many other tokens are striving and are fighting to conquer a spot, a reactor inside Tokemak. For example, we have Rune, we have Temple, we have FTM, we have Spell, Curve, Luna, and many other are coming. So let's try to summarize. We have a problem into DeFi, and the problem is about liquidity. Tokemak is solving it because it's saying, guys, protocols, instead of just trying to attract your own liquidity, and that is just a mercenary liquidity because people will move according to the highest APY, come to my platform, just own our token and vote for which DEX your liquidity should go. We will pay rewards with our token, but the reason why our token is not just a token that will decrease in value is because our token has an intrinsic value. And the reason why it has a value is because you can use it to vote for which kind of asset should be added as a new reactor. Not only, here you can also vote for the APR, because the more token you are depositing inside the reactor, also higher would be the APR for a certain kind of asset. So if you are a protocol and you want to incentivize people to come into Tokemak and deposit liquidity, is your interest to hold a higher amount of tokens. Not to mention that you can also use our token in order to vote for which DEX your liquidity should go. So as you can see, our token is not just an inflationary token, because the idea at the end of the story is that in the moment when we are able to earn enough fees from all the liquidity that we have inside our protocol that we are deploying to different kind of DEXs, in that moment we can use it not only to cover the impermanent loss and in order to give you the highest APR as possible, but also to do some kind of buyback that is covering at all the amount of rewards that we are paying into the different reactors. So the idea is really powerful. And if you are asking to me what I think about this protocol, I truly believe that if they will be able to literally grow, because at this point we are just at the beginning, and if they will be able to do it, this could be a really huge protocol. If we are trying to talk about in the matter of the price of the token, because as you can see right now the price of Tokemak is $40, with a fully diluted valuation that is already 4 billion and an actual market cap that is just around 400 million. So yes, the fully diluted valuation is quite high yet because the protocol is still small, but on the other side, we don't know in which moment the protocol will reach that kind of balance where all the fees are also used in order to do some kind of buyback, and they will be able to reduce the supply. So it's not yet known if we will ever reach that kind of maximum supply. We just know that at this point the market cap is 400 million. So there is a lot of space to grow. Here you can find also the trend, and as you can see, the price has gone 4 times higher starting from January, and has reached also a peak around almost $80, because at the beginning of November there has been a lot of hype around this protocol. My personal opinion about it is that I really like this protocol. I like the idea, and as you can see also here, there is also a platform where you can also sell your votes, because another thing that I didn't tell you is that in the moment when you are owning as a user, normal user, not a protocol, the token, and you don't have any kind of interest to vote, you can sell your vote. So you can add another APR on top of what you were already earning. So as you can see, it is really the composability of this kind of mechanism is really high, and the kind of amount of APR that you can earn just owning the Tokemak token is quite high. Personally, I'm wondering if to add to my portfolio this token. I still believe that is a high risk token for the simple reason that the project it is just at cycle 0, it is just at the beginning, but the concept is really powerful, and if they will be able to succeed, and this is something that we will see only into the long term, don't invest in this protocol if you are looking just for speculation, let's say in a couple of months, because that's not a game. Investing into the token of Tokemak is something for a long term, at least 1 year, a couple of years. And the success of this protocol is related to their ability to attract liquidity and to become literally the standard for the whole DeFi ecosystem. They are saying that if Ethereum is considered like the gas for the whole DeFi, Tokemak could be literally the oil for the engine in order to make it possible to optimize and make more efficient the whole space. If they will be able to literally realize their vision, this protocol could be huge. In any case, guys, let me know what do you think about it, because I know that Tokemak is one of the most complex protocol into the whole DeFi. And it's also one of the reasons because you are not seeing many people talking about it, because that's quite a complex protocol. I hope that I help you to understand how does it work and for which reason it is a really important part of this DeFi ecosystem. Let me know if you have any kind of question or if you need any kind of update or overview or to focus on something more specifically, because yes, this is an important topic. Guys, remember that if you like this kind of content, the best way to sustain is always leaving a big thumbs up, drop a comment, and remember, if you are new to the channel, subscribe in order to be always updated. Guys, I will see you tomorrow with another video. Bye.